morning mga kaibigan! Welcome to In My Toolbox, your weekly talk show on your personal finance, only here at PHLV Radio. Of course, the goal in this show is to give you financial information that you may be able to use on your day-to-day financial decisions. We will unbox topics that will hopefully aid you and guide you and maybe even add to your financial tools. We will tackle, of course, important information that's mostly not taught in school but is so much needed to empower you financially. As usual, mga kaibigan, in any idea that will transpire in this show, always consult with your financial advisors, insurance professionals, or even tax consultants. Of course, my name is Enrico Pobre, your host. I'm a sales, marketing, and trainer, an economist, and an entrepreneur, and a financial professional. If you have questions, of course, ask them away. You would see a chat box below, or if you will be listening to the show on a later time, please feel free to connect with us or through Facebook page In My Toolbox, or connect with me via Instagram or LinkedIn, or simply Google my name, Enrico Pobre. Definitely you'll get in touch with me. Or you can simply email me at enrico.inmytoolbox@gmail.com. Alright, thank you so much again mga kaibigan. This is another episode of In My Toolbox. Thursday night, andito na naman po tayo, of course, in the past episodes that I've been talking to you guys about a lot of financial tools, strategies, tips here and there. And, what I think for tonight's episode, we'll be talking about mindset naman. We may have all these tools and this know-how, but if we are not in the right mindset, all of those things, baliwala siya, right? So today, I would like to talk about how to develop a rich mindset. So basically, now you're listening to this episode. Of course, this will push an interest on you, because the interest is showing what's the difference between a person who has a poor thinking and, of course, a rich thinking, or just mainly poor versus rich. So what's the difference? And of course, these things, while you learn on these things, probably you have to apply the habits of being, of course, lahat naman tayo would like to be rich, right? We would like to create those habits on how to be rich in our own life, correct? So, lagi naman natin iniisip yun. So, what makes one? Of course, it's all about mindset. And if you're so serious about success, then you need to understand those two. Between the rich and the poor mentality. Again, it's all about mindset. You may have all the tools, but if you don't have that mindset, baliwala siya. So, look at these things, guys. Ang maganda kasi, we actually look at the people those people that are already successful, and we try to study the lives of these successful people or rich people. And when you do that, you'll notice one thing and one thing only. There's something so consistent about these people. And the consistency here, we talk about a growth mindset. All of these people who are successful, everything that they have, is very, very obvious, is they have a growth mindset. And of course, sabi nga ni Dale Carnegie, Dale Carnegie said this, one of his quotes. Sabi niya, most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no hope at all. So ibig sabihin, pag medyo nahihirapan na tayo and you feel like hopeless, most people surrenders. Ang sabi lang naman ni Dale Carnegie dito, the thing that separates those things or those people, because they just kept on going and they accomplish things. And that's having a rich mindset. And of course, having a rich mindset is ultimately a growth mindset. That's your self-growth. And you have to not only just knowing that you need to do that, but you have to persevere until you get the desired outcome. Now, the things that we're talking about in the past episodes is what? Of course, to grow money, to build wealth, to have a better life, you have a beautiful life. But then again, it's not that easy. You have to persevere in getting this, and of course, you'll get the desired outcome. And so, where do we need to begin? Of course, again, that's the whole story of this talk today. It's in your mindset. We have to understand the difference between the rich and the poor mindset, okay? So that's the thing. The difference between the rich and the poor mentality. So when you most of us right now, we look at, probably we put a couple of minutes or hours to our social media, di ba? So we look at Instagram, we look at Facebook, we look at YouTube, and no doubt you will be seeing people in those, on those platforms, contents like incredibly very lavish lifestyle. You would see those two people, right? For some, of course, images are real. But for others, there's a lot of behind the scene. What do I mean by that? Some people you may see it's a front because there's going to be a lot of people who are in debt, who have poor credit, zero savings. That's a very, what do you call this? Not very popular, but people are going through they're going through things, right? So the main thing here, guys, is you may see this in social media, but the truth is you have to ask yourself, where are we really financially, right? So there's this actually book called the Millionaire Next Door. And, the author of this book, he says there that over several decades of, putting this together, you know what he found out? Most millionaires pala are not living in places like Hollywood. In fact, according to the book, most millionaires are actually what? Are living right in front of you. You just don't know. They're actually your neighbors, So living in your neighborhood. And then they usually drive a second-hand, Toyota. And probably they're using an iPhone that was made 5 years ago. And with that book, there's so many lessons to learn, mga kaibigan, And lessons from this are just so spectacular and fantastic to really understand. These people who are wealthy, according to the book, they're business owners who've built all their empire from the ground up. Ibig sabihin, anybody can actually make it work and make it happen. It's just about, self-growth and that growth mentality. So this can be women and men, but, these people, they've maintained their old lifestyle, pero they're still building real assets and using this, what you call the rich mindset. So, ganun pala ang mga millionaires, You just don't see them, but, they actually have it. And it's important for us to realize that truly these rich people, they just don't go out there and flaunt it, And that's the reason why, they continuously increasing their wealth. They're not buying the latest gadgets. So they're not the most expensive cars, Instead, what they're actually doing, these people who are millionaires, they're actually building asset. Last week, over the weekend, I was in Alabama. That's exactly what I was talking to the people that I was with, The purpose really that we need to think of when we start building our wealth is asset building. And that's going to be another topic. But this is exactly what the book is talking about. Instead of these people are just spending their money to whatever, these people are actually focusing on building their assets. And that's the key differentiator between the rich and the poor. Living in luxury can be one of the habits of a poor mindset. Again, according to the book, living in luxury can be one of the habits of the poor mindset. But becoming rich is possible. And there are many more wealthy people out there than you might imagine, because they're not just showing it off, right? And these are people who have built wealth quietly using, of course, what you call a stealth wealth approach. Ang ganda, no? Stealth wealth approach. Quiet lang sila, pero they're actually building their assets and they're actually building their wealth, So let me just talk to you guys about two things, the rich mindset and the poor mindset. So let's define what is a poor mindset. On the other end of the spectrum, you have a significant number of people that is actually stuck in poverty mindset. Kasi I've been talking about rich mindset kanina. On the other side of that spectrum is about a lot of people are actually stuck in a poverty mindset. Poverty and being poor is actually complex as it is. Our environment, ladies and gentlemen, our exposure and our life experiences can keep us most often, right, trapped in that cycle. Again, guys, what I mean here is the environment that you're in, the exposure that you have, and of course the experiences can actually, or the life experiences can actually keep us trapped in that cycle. Naalala ko nga, I remember this, guys. You are the people who you associate with. Not for anything else, Sabi nga nila, if you're actually associated with, with people, with five poor people, you're number 6, di ba? So if you're associated with 5 wealthy people, you're number 6. So ganun ibig sabihin na you are who you associate yourself with, and it can be very difficult to overcome this scenario. However, you can actually carve away. Just deciding, just simply, you can get out of it. You can carve yourself away from that. Just simply deciding, and of course, you have to tell yourself, I need to adjust my mindset. So that's what you call a thought pattern. Again, we have to really change to make it happen. So if you are, if you have a poverty mindset, that's a thought pattern there, and that is going to be the major thing that can hold you back from becoming wealthy. Now, if I'm going to ask you right now, ladies and gentlemen, mga kaibigan, mga kap, sino ang gusto maging mahirap here? Who would like to be poor? Of course, nobody's going to be raising their hands up. We would want to be what? Better off, right? But then again, we are trapped in that poverty mindset. So let's just talk about a couple of things that affects it. So a poor mindset kasi, you would know if you have a poor mindset, if you believe that things will not change. So that's a mindset. We want to be rich. We want to do stuff. Oh, I like all your strategies, Enrico. But then again, we have this poverty mindset. Liking and doing are two different things, remember, right? So we might want to do something, but because our poverty mindset keeps us from not being wealthy, that's another thing. So a poor mindset believes that things will not change. So poor mindset convinces people that their circumstances are fixed. Yun na siya. Wala na tayong magagawa. There's nothing we can do, right? And that living paycheck to paycheck is the best that they can do. That's exactly what's keeping or holding us, because of having a poor mindset, So they think that there's not much that they can do to improve their circumstance. And again, guys, this is a very big difference between rich and poor mentality. So if you see yourself telling yourself, hey, things will not change anymore, that's a poor mentality, So that's what's keeping us in our circumstances currently. Worse, if it's gonna get worse, right? An attitude of poverty. Another thing is they believe they cannot overcome challenges because someone using habits of the poor mindset believes that what life has thrown them has never been seen before, and their challenges are impossible to overcome. Wow, my God, this is very impossible. I cannot get out of this anymore. Now, if you believe that you cannot overcome such challenges, that's a poor mentality as well. So they may also feel judgment towards those that are rich. They judge because people are rich and they're not. And just because that it's gonna be impossible for them to become rich. What these people fail to realize is that everyone goes through rough patches. Life is not that easy. We all go through the same rough patches. There's gonna be those times in our life, but then again, overcoming it is where we go to the next level. That's going to be our breakthrough. But then again, if your mindset will say that you cannot overcome these challenges, that's poor mentality. And that's the reason why you can never go to the next level. Again, guys, we may have all the tools in the world, but if our mindset is not ready to receive it, or, you don't have the mindset to execute the things that we need to do, that we learn over time, we're never going to get to that second level. Oprah, didn't rise to where she is today without facing those major personal and professional challenges. I think, we know her story, right? You can just YouTube it and you'd know her story, And of course, neither that the likes of the late of people like Kobe Bryant, for example, So instead, guys, these people, Kobe Bryant, Oprah, and the likes, they had this wealthy mentality, not the poverty mindset that I'm talking about. And that's the reason why, guys, they are where they are today, right? So let me just give you guys a some tips on the of this people, this rich people's mindset and or successful people mindset. So we will learn from them. I always believe, guys, that to become successful or to become the person that we would want to be, all we have to do is to follow their footsteps. We don't even have to reinvent the wheel. What I'm trying to say here is, they have laid out the blueprint already of success, that all you have to do is to follow exactly what they did, and you can be successful as well. Now that we can see the difference between the rich and the poor mentality, probably what we can do right now is just to go over, what this rich people has that, they practice or what they believe in. So one thing that I can share to you, that rich people, they always have a vision. See? So what do you mean by this? Before you hit the ground running, you have to ask yourself first, what's my vision? Do you have one? So basically, a vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. So if I'm gonna ask you guys, what's your vision? How do you see your life to be? What do you want to achieve in the future? How, that's exactly what vision is. It's the art of seeing what is invisible to others. Do you have these hopes? Do you have these dreams that you're constantly thinking of achieving? Well, that's actually a beginning. Rich people have vision. Do you have one? Do you have these things that you would want to achieve? Your dream, is it still there? Are you still dreaming today? And are you constantly thinking about it, of achieving it? So I always believe that how the bigger the vision, the more likely, right, is going to happen. So is your vision big beyond what you think that you are capable of doing today? Libre na nga lang mangarap na tayo, di ba? So how big is it? I always teach about that this is what you call a law of the lid. For example, if I ask you guys, if you have all the access to money in the world, what would you want to have? But then again, guys, because of the law of the lid, because of the blueprint of our lives, still, even though we have the capacity, it limits us. Even the belief of achieving it limits us. That's the law of the lid. And exactly the question that I have to you today, is your vision big enough? And then, do you think that vision you're capable of doing today? So will whatever you see for yourself to change your life, or even the life of your family, or maybe whatever, even the community in the future, whatever your goal is, whatever your vision is, how big is it? So if you all see where you are today, challenge yourself to build a vision. That's one thing that you need to do today. Challenge yourself, build that vision. Because once you do, you're going to need to realize that it's not a one and done affair. Of course, you can just keep on dreaming. You can just put your vision out there so big that you would want to see yourself achieving it every day, constantly, So instead, guys, what you would want to do, and you have to have this process every day where your mind dreams further than what's possible, And that's what the rich people are doing. The rich are persistent and they keep on working towards their vision. Again, the key here is they work towards their vision. And of course, not only, vision, you can say goals, you can say dreams, as long as you see it vividly and you are actually ready to execute it. And that's a huge difference between the rich mindset and the poor mindset. And another thing here, guys, rich people have productive routines. Okay? So, rich people has what you call productive routines. What do you mean by this? Netflix, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, they've been dominating the entertainment scene, for of a lot, right? So, a lot of people spend millions of hours, and to view this. And while in this businesses that I told you, it's good for them. Well, for you, it does little for you. I have actually a good partner in my business so many years ago that he said, "Oh, Enrico, before I got into this business, I used to play a lot of virtual or fantasy football." And I was telling them, "Oh, I spent a lot of time there and I spent a lot of money in there. But I just realized while I'm actually on the other side of the spectrum, I'm the one giving money to these people and I never earned because I always spend a lot of time doing it and spend a lot of money doing it as well." So I know it does great for these people, but it does little to you. And what, guys, rich people knows this. That's why most rich people are more productive with their time. So let me ask you now, guys, what are you doing with your time? And these rich people are very intentional, on what? To create productive routines. So they have routines. And what, if I ask you and me, what routines do we have every day? And they understand that you don't just wake up as diligent individual out of nowhere. Because when we talk about routines, we just don't mean waking up 5 a.m. every day. That's a very small part of it, but it can be a start, but that's a small part of it. Instead, what we would want to talk about routines is that we're referring to overall environment of rich people, where rich people put themselves in. Rich people are intentional about the friends they keep. They pay attention to what they feed in their mind. They read books, and what type of books? Of course, self-growth books, financial books, and rich people put themselves in environments where success is most likely. Again, try to understand this one, guys. Rich people, they intentionally put themselves in an environment where success is most likely. Kaya ako, guys, what I always do, if I see that I'm going towards an environment that's gonna pull me, when I'm going to an environment that's gonna be dark, when I'm going to an environment that's full of negativity, I automatically detach. Because success will not be seen in those kind of environment, and that's what rich people do. They want to put themselves in an environment where success is most likely. And then speaking about routines, routines consist of all of these components. Time, environment, and the habits. Probably a good example is when you need to get some work done at home. You have to ask yourself, do you work from your bed? Of course not, right? So you probably end up getting much less done if you try to do it there. You still want to what? To get up, position yourself, clean up a table, put all this, you create still a working environment even though you work at home. So this is exactly what you want to do. You create a designated place, or well, in this case now it's a workplace. Well, you will get, to feel that you're going to be working. That's exactly what it means. So that's basically a routine that you have to create to yourselves, and you would see what type of environment that you will most likely to be successful. So basically create a life that makes success inevitable. The reality of this is, syempre it's gonna be, we're just humans. It's gonna be very, very hard for us, And, gaya nga sabi nila, tao lang tayo. But then again, for you to go to the next level, you have to what? To get out of those challenges, right? The reliability of the routine can help you succeed. So it depends on how reliable that is, right? So rich people know and know these things, and they intentionally, think about this and do something about it. That's what you call a consistent routine. And a rich mindset, guys, is also, for rich people, is results driven. So rich people focus on outcomes. They take full responsibility by setting goals and achieving them. Guys, one is to have a goal. Another thing is to achieve them. You may have all the goals in the world, but you don't have the desire to achieve them. That's a different story. But rich people, guys, the responsibility by setting goals and achieving them, that's a rich mindset. And of course, they're not just building routines for bragging rights. They have bragging rights. They become rich, right? But that's not the purpose. That's not the sole purpose of becoming rich. So I can brag my achievement. No, in fact, that's the last thing that these rich people would even think of. It's all about what do you call this? Just becoming. Achieving the goals and the visions that they have. No one is waking up 5 a.m. so they can just post about this in Facebook or Instagram. Nobody wakes up at 5 a.m. just because. No, they intentionally wake up 5 a.m. in the morning because they need to know it, because they know that they need to do something. So rich people are focused on the results and will commit to doing what it takes to achieve them. So when they wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, the purpose is not to put it in Facebook that I woke up 5 a.m. The purpose is just to go out there and start working. That's exactly how it works. By the way, guys, I remember a good friend of mine told me, hey, Enrico, if you want to be successful, wake up 2 hours on your usual time. So if you wake up at 7, probably you would want to wake up at 5 a.m. What do you mean by this? Now, if you have 2 extra hours every day in a week time, you have an extra day of work. That's powerful mindset, guys, right? So exactly what I'm trying to talk to you guys about here. Rich mindset people, has this type of thinking, because routines alone will improve your family your quality of life. But, but they won't do anything for your bank account. Routines coupled with focused action will yield results. So you may have the routine waking up in the 5 a.m. in the morning, but you're not doing anything anyway. Of course, it has to be coupled with focused action. That's going to be, giving you results. So the best way to achieve results, well, number one, you have to know what you want first. You have to know what you do. And then number two, do you really want it? How much do you want it really? How hungry can you be? So once you have this clear idea of what the end goal is, by the way, I always tell that to a lot of people, you have to begin with the end in mind. You would want to know first what you want before you do anything. Otherwise, you're going to be all over the place, right? You're going to have a scattered brain, So you have to know, you have to have a crystal clear idea of what the end goal is. It will be so much easier to work back. This is what you call reverse engineering, and figure out what it takes to get there. So again, you have to begin with the end in mind, then reverse engineer, and now figure out how you can actually get there. Rich people, mga kaibigan, admit that, admit things when they don't know. They don't assume that, and that I know that already. No. Rich people, they have the capacity to say, well, I don't know, And, I think for me, that's a smarter person for me, admitting what you don't know and knowing how to ask meaningful questions. For me, there's still stupid questions. I always ask questions. Even though everybody knows it already, I just ask a question. Because I cannot presume and assume and just show everybody that I know, but at the end, I'm the one suffering. So I'll be asking that question. It doesn't matter if they laugh at me. I just don't know. That's the reason why I ask questions, so I know. So rich people know this. Rich people knows that. They ask questions and they are on constant search of knowledge. Again, guys, look at this. You might want to do things that you've never done before so you can have things that you never had before. If it will take to ask you the simplest question that everybody knows that you don't, and still ask the question, because it will benefit you, anyway. So rich people are very hungry to get knowledge, wisdom, and that's part of their rich mindset. You may have all these tools that we talked about, but if you don't have that rich mindset, if you don't ask the right question, you will never go there. Oh, by the way, with all those things that we talked about, the last 8 months, guys, I'm telling you, you have to ask yourself, have you actually executed some of them already? Or even, if you don't know, have you reached out to somebody that can actually help you, give you more ideas, or for you to understand what was talked about previously, Now, if you're learning from a mentor, ask smart questions. This is for informational purposes. And by then you can have great, decision making. Learn in regard to the challenges that, these people are facing, understand what they're trying to achieve, how they're planning to achieve the goals, and what they've learned from their past experiences. That's the reason why there's mentors, and then you can also have some coaches who can coach you along the way. Listening always pays off. And again, rich people knows this. They gather intel on their best practices. They gather intel on new opportunities. They gather intel on potential challenges and solutions. They use this skill when learning. They use this skill for negotiating, exploring, networking. Basically, guys, every human interaction they have. And of course, people with a rich mindset don't work for money. What, Enrico? Yeah, they don't work for money. And you actually heard that right. Rich people, people who have rich mindset, they don't work for money. Rich people work to learn. What, Enrico? Yeah. Rich people work to learn. Poor people often work for their next paycheck. Regrettably, that's just how it is. This is a huge difference between rich and poor mindset. You actually see it all around you. Poor people end up working from paycheck to paycheck and just barely making ends meet. Rich people, on the other hand, right? They grow their skills. They put time to grow their skills. And they put time to grow their abilities. And they continuously rise up the ranks. Again, guys, I hope you saw that. Rich people, they're hungry to learn. They're hungry for improvement. They would want to carve their abilities, and they also always look up going to the next level. So once you make money the end goal, you'll be stuck working for it. You'll be stuck working for it without growing in your talents and your abilities to earn more income. But if you work to learn, you'll be on your way to be successful, become progressive. Okay, so rich people also have mentors. Do you have a mentor? I remember, guys, I'm so hungry with mentorship. Because I know the value. Up until today, I still search, I still look for people who could mentor me, and I just believe in mentorship. I look for coaches, up until today. I ask questions. We have intelligent talks. I give them scenarios. They give me answers, and etc. It's a good conversation. You think of that level of a conversation where you always see yourself growing because you have somebody to talk to that's mentoring you as well. And again, life is all about relationships. Life is all about relationships. We have all the skill sets, but you don't build relationships. That's a very sad life. So you've actually probably heard the saying, your network is your net worth, right? So who is actually in your net worth right now? But that saying is actually true. But that doesn't mean that you should go out there and dump your friends. Okay? So it doesn't mean that you have to dump your friends. But unluckily, I've met a lot of people, just because they're blinded with money, that they can actually just give up friendship. I value relationship, but there's just a lot of people like that. That's poor mentality. So it means that what it just means here, guys, is you just have to broaden your circle. Again, you are who you associate yourself with. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, who am I associating myself with? I'm not telling you guys that, you delete all of these people in your life because they're not successful. I was just telling you guys that you have to what? To broaden your circle. So you see, look at this, guys. Rich people connect with other people. It's about connecting, and that's probably is one thing that I like to see myself always, just connecting people here and there. Probably you would ask yourself, if you're my friend right now, how did we got connected, right? Or who connected you with me, or who connected me to you? So it's all about what? Connecting with other people. They identify stars in their field, study them, and through a leap of faith, make that connection. And it all goes back to your what? vision again. What's your goal? What's your dream? And then again, if I'll be asking you guys, it's a good thing too to develop yourself. Who inspires you? Who inspires you today? Who inspires you to do more? So what do you admire about these people? What do you admire about that person? What do you hope to learn from these people, from all of this connection? And of course, it just doesn't stop there. We learn from other people while building a relationship with them. So a rich mindset asks how you'll make a connection with that person. Or do you see yourself, it's okay, I don't have to connect with them, whatever, right? But again, connecting is essential to become better in life. To connect with anyone you'd like in the world, you have to serve them first. Again, ganun naman yun eh. You have to give value to others and then serve them. And I bet you'll be able to connect with these people. Understand the world that they have, understand the world they're in, and figure out how you can actually add value to them. When you become valuable to people, that's easy to connect. So are you valuable to other people? And that's a tool that could connect you to these people. They'll be more receptive to mentoring you once you build relationship. All right. And again, guys, rich people does this. Rich people intentionally do these things, So rich people always look for opportunities. Are you looking for opportunities? Are you? Remember the show Shark Tank? Well, it's a very fascinating show. In fact, 3 weeks ago, I was in that scenario when, just imagine like a Shark Tank, but there's about 20 businesses there, and I of course I gave my pitch for my business, and it's a very good environment. So on that show, of course, Shark Tank is similar to where I was. Every week, handfuls of entrepreneurs stand before this what you call the sharks, and the pitch of where we could pitch a new idea. And some of these ideas that I was with a few weeks back, are wild ideas, creating energy, from creation of energy to open up a new coffee shop, ideas. And, would you ever imagine, a sponge in the shape of a smiley face, making hundreds of millions of dollars, or a toilet stool that makes bowel movement easier, revamping how people handle their business. All of these things. The people now, they're founders. These people who present business to Shark Tanks, they're visionaries. Do you see yourself like that? Not might be in that scale, but do you see yourself a visionary? Who sees opportunities out there? So that's exactly how you would want to see yourself. You would want to see opportunities, and rich people knows this. Not just seeking to improve things is one of the habits of the poor mindset, but not someone with what you call a rich mindset. A rich person always seeks to improve what's out there. Are you that? Do you seek something that will make life better, people better, a community better? And there's always room for improvement. It doesn't mean that something is already invented, that there's nothing more than that, right? So again, all of these things, guys, you just have to look at opportunities. And of course, past recessions will tell us good stories that actually changed the world. During the recession so many years back, it actually birthed what? Companies like Airbnb, Disney. Can you imagine? But it was there all along, but it actually gave us another level, right? Venmo, Slack, Uber, as simple as Zoom. Recessions and times of economic uncertainty and turmoil, create some of the greatest comeback victories or stories that you can ever imagine. So that's the reason why, guys, there's a lot of opportunity if we become creative, and rich people knows that. And it's times like these things, where difference between rich versus poor mindset stands out. So you have to ask yourself during those recession, were you creative? Have you thought of other things that will be valuable out there? Probably you did. Now, probably the next thing that you need to do is just go out there and share it, right? And do something about it. So, and rich people knows that. Another thing, guys, rich people believes in abundance. Well, if you have a scarcity mindset, we will never move forward, guys. But rich people, they have an abundant mindset. There's often one core belief that holds poor people back. And it's a belief that resources are limited. No, there's so much resources out there, guys. We just have to believe it, like the rich people. It's this belief that if my neighbor John Doe succeeds, then there's less room for me to succeed. No, there's a lot of opportunity for you and me, really. So say for example, Bolt, the fastest man alive, is out there. It doesn't mean that because somebody already broke the world record, I can never do that again. I can never do that already. That's what scarcity mindset. That's a poor mindset. So exactly what I was trying to tell you guys, that there's a lot of opportunity there, and it can often lead to those poor mindset. It can often lead to resentments and an assumption that rich people only look out for their own interests. Again, this negativity or negative mindset comes out there because we have a scarcity mindset. Again, rich people believes in abundant mindset. And it's not true that resources are scarce. There's a lot of things. We have to believe in abundance. So. Well, again, guys, this is actually the things that I've been telling you, that we have to create our mindset, okay? Abundantly. We have to have an abundant mindset. Now, a rich person mindset learns how to manage their finances. Again, I told you, I think many times, it's not an income problem, it's an expense problem, right? So here, a rich person knows how to manage their finances. So no one is born knowing how to manage their money. That's true. No one is actually born that you already automatically know how to manage the money. Well, of course, some people were born with the family that's actually wealthy already. Some people were born already that some families have financial management already. But for the majority of us, that's not the case. So again, no one was born to manage their money. We have to learn it along the way, right? So rich people know this, and the reason why they know because they know this, they are actually proactive in managing their finances. They start teaching it already. That's the reason why, and because they know it. And a rich person, they always have a budget. Do you guys have budgets, or you just have money and just spend it according to your checking account, right, or a credit card? A wealthy person has learned how to invest in the stock market, and a successful person made it a priority to get out of debt. Are we getting out of debt, or are we just digging more to that debt? So you just need to have a budget. You need to get out of those debt. You need to have this financial management. Ask for people if you don't know that. Ask for the right people. Ask them how they manage their finances. More so, go get a financial advisor. Rich people understand how to use their money to their advantage. So instead of racking up thousands of dollars in consumer debt, rich people will actually leverage it. When they receive money, they leverage that money to make money for them. Poor people, when they receive money, they spend it all. And that's not a good thing, So some people, they start new business if they need to. They use debt to build, and they pay it off responsibly. And lastly, guys, we're towards the last part of this item. Rich people are not afraid to fail. That's it. Rich people are not afraid to fail. They're not afraid of trying. They're not afraid of trying something new. They see a problem, and of course, they have a quick solution to it. And of course, I understand, guys, that there's no one has 100% accuracy with finance and investment. But sometimes you just have to have what you call a calculated risk. So and rich people knows that failure doesn't worry them. It should not worry them, I mean, because they have not failed as long as there are life lessons to learn. So there's no failing. There's a lot of what learning, and these people are willing to go out to go out on a limb sometimes, at their own risk, because they want to improve and try to be more successful. So again, guys, you've certainly achieved. You have certainly achieved some wins in your life before, right? You won some other challenges in life. I understand that. I did. I know you did too. But you probably also had things that went not according to your plan. But still won. Look, no, what I meant here, guys, try to look at it and go back to those times that you won according to your plan, you won not according to your plan. And what do you think? You learned something out of that, So that's actually my idea here, guys. Rich people actually know that failing is gonna happen. It's just that they have to accept that failing is gonna happen, but they look at it as a learning. So, guys, you have to have a rich mindset to become wealthy. So, yan naman mga kaibigan, Yan naman po ang ating episode for In My Toolbox. It's just how to develop a rich mindset. Now, at least you know the rich and the poor mentality. And, guys, becoming rich is not hard. It does, but it actually takes a lot of time and effort. Yun lang yung solution doon, to become rich. And you just have to start cultivating the right habits that will get you there, and understand, of course, the difference between the rich and the poor mindset. Practice these habits that will make you wealthy, not habits of a poor mindset. So, like many before you too can become a millionaire. You and I, we can become a millionaire. But of course, it will not happen overnight. It will take a process with consistency and being diligent to your actions, and you will be on your way to achieving wealth. So this is actually a question that I want to leave to you guys, all of you guys here. So what is your vision? If you don't have one, probably tonight you would want to sit back and relax and ask yourself, what's my vision? What do I really want, right? And then number 2, where are you going? So where do you want to go? So who do you want to be, with this journey? And again, guys, I think today is a great time to start developing your rich mindset, and it's also a great time to working towards that goal. So again, guys, I think those are good questions to contemplate for us tonight. And you again have listened to In My Toolbox. Andito na naman po si Enrico Pobre, just gave you a something to think before you sleep tonight. Again, until our next episode In My Toolbox. See you next Thursday. Magandang gabi. Woohoo!